Hello there, my name is John Patry and I'm a future Master's graduate of the University of British Columbia Masters of Educational Technology program. I'd like to welcome you to my ePortfolio and my graduating project for ETEC 590. This ePortfolio has been created to share, showcase, and reflect on my accomplishments and acquirements of new knowledge in the field of educational technology over the last 2 years. To support and interject creativity into my portfolio, I've used two overarching themes: my quirky passion of Star Wars and the well-known mythic theme developed by Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey. My deep knowledge of Star Wars has enabled me to see the connections between Luke Skywalker's journey and my own MET journey. I welcome you to my guided tour of the MET Wars and academic digital journey, my portfolio. Thank you for taking the interest and the time to view my work.
I'm going to take you on a guided tour of my ePortfolio and explain how to navigate through the journey, and then I'm going to share and reflect with you some of the artifacts and highlights of my learning transformation during the past 2 years of my experience. To access the content of my EP, you can use the navigation bar located across the top. When using the cursor, you can click to any of the pages and it will navigate you to that particular page. Or you can hover over the button and a drop-down menu will appear, revealing sub-pages. These can also be clicked and viewed to access my portfolio. To simply go back to the home page, click Home. Currently on the home page, which is my welcoming to you and introduces you to my EP and provides a brief summary of my metaphor. I also have the guided tour located on my home screen, which you're currently viewing and can be accessed to give a more in-depth look into my ePortfolio itself. Below the guided tour, I have been given permission by artist Eric Power to use his animated version of the Star Wars trilogy to provide a quick synopsis of the movies. I've included this animation as a bonus feature for those wishing to gain a bit more insight into the movies. I've also included a visual timeline of my MET journey, which highlights when I embarked on each course in my journey. There are two timelines available, and as you can see, Dippity is currently unavailable, which has been a recent error. I still wanted to include this timeline, as when it does become available, it will provide an interactive way of viewing my timeline in MET courses. At the bottom of my home page, there are 4 separate pages: my About Me, my EP Proposal, my Rubric, and my Sources. My About Me page is just that. It provides a bit more information about myself. If you'd like to go to the next page, you can simply click onto R2-D2 here, and this link will navigate you through the natural progression of the portfolio. If you choose not to go through the natural progression, you can simply go up to the top of the navigational bar and peruse at your leisure. I've included my proposal as it does outline the purpose, the objectives, and who my ePortfolio is intended for. I also provide a bit more information about the platform selection and my metaphor and artifacts in a brief synopsis. A timeline is also included of the 13-week journey of creating this ePortfolio. I've included my rubric for 2 reasons. One, it was my first attempt at using the Google Forms, which is an application within the Google Sites. And secondly, it provides the assessment criteria to evaluate my ePortfolio. Feel free to complete the evaluation and submit some comments or suggestions. My sources provide some of the main sources that I've referenced throughout my ePortfolio, and also the images through each section of the journey. When you're navigating through the ePortfolio, you'll notice that I've included images and scenes and characters from the Star Wars movie A New Hope. These are included to support my metaphor. As an additional bonus feature to my ePortfolio, many of the images have embedded content, and when clicked will take you to the video content located outside my ePortfolio. As these are added bonuses to my EP, it isn't an absolute to view them to understand my learning journey. To simply leave these external pages, close the page, and it will lead you back to the EP. With having a bit more understanding of how to navigate around the ePortfolio, And before we embark on the tour of the journey itself, I want to point out two important sections. The supernatural aid section needs to be recognized as a vital component of my MET journey. Similar to Luke Skywalker and his mentorship from Obi-Wan Kenobi, I too was mentored and received the unconditional support, advice, and encouragement from my professors during each course offering. These mentors were there to help me make it through my journey. Alongside the mentors, another aid that I relied heavily on through and throughout the program are items called talismans. These talismans have been tools and supports needed to complete individual and group tasks. The talismans have come in many forms, such as guiding questions to support my research and formulate the pertinent questions to critique articles, the use of frameworks to evaluate technologies, and of course the abundance of Web 2.0 collaboration tools and softwares used to create the many visual artifacts you will see throughout my journey. All of these talismans have been extremely valuable, and not only were these tools applied throughout my MET experience, but I frequently transferred my new knowledge and skill acquisitions into my classroom setting. You can take a further look at 3 specific artifacts, or you can continue to the next page. My MET journey would not have been as successful or fulfilling if it wasn't for my colleagues in the program. Many of these individuals supported me when I lacked the experience needed to complete a task. They challenged my opinions and pushed me to think critically. My allies and helpers have come from all over the globe, bringing their perspectives on education and technology from their own corner. This truly was a global community of educators. My allies and helpers provided unconditional support on many projects, and they kept the conversations moving forward. For that, I am truly grateful, and I hope I was able to contribute and be as valued in the same capacity at some point in my academic journey. The 3 stages of the hero's journey are constructed in the standard linear 3-act story. However, some of my artifacts and course exposures are placed in my journey out of sequential order, as I feel the artifact and experience connected more specifically to that particular stage. The hero's journey is divided into 3 main sections: the departure, the initiation, and the return. Within each section, there are a number of subsections, with the entire journey broken into 17 stages. Of the 17, 9 are the focus for my academic digital journey that I best feel connect to my MET experience. Each main section of the journey follows a similar format. As you can see on the departure page, I've included a brief synopsis of the stage, and located right below are the 3 subsections that I make my connections to. You can access these pages individually through the navigation bar, or begin with each box. I begin each stage of the journey with a literature connection from Campbell's book, and I proceed to connect the literature to what I believe is a similar stage in Luke Skywalker's journey. I then parallel my experiences to the metaphor with selected learning artifacts that have had a significant impact in my transformation as an educator. Each of these artifacts and experiences represent and demonstrate my connection to that particular stage in the journey. At the end of each stage, located at the bottom of the page, I provide a reflective component titled Jedi Reflections. These are my final thoughts and summaries of what I experienced. The departure, which includes the call to adventure, crossing of the first threshold, and the belly of the whale, are not only the beginning of my journey, but also the starting point of my transformations of looking at technology in education. It is here where I begin to shift my thinking from technology inclusion in the classroom of just being an add-on or a gimmick to engage my students, but being used in purposeful ways to seek out information and construct one's learning. My departure from the normal world of educational experiences were suddenly transformed when crossing the first threshold. Here I was introduced to the foundations of educational technology and was challenged to look at different social and cultural perspectives and how each reflected on educational technology. It was here in the departure where I challenged myself to look at the element of play in video gaming in the classroom by writing my first scholarly paper. When completing my paper, I had realized that I had only breached the surface of gaming in education, and I would continue to follow this inquiry when formulating a research proposal in ETEC 500. The departure was also my first introduction into looking into the design of learning environments and using constructivist approaches of learning to create wikis and web spaces to share individual and group projects. This constructivist approach to learning, I realized, would become a recurring theme to acquiring knowledge in many of the MET courses. The initiation section consists of the Road of Trials, the Meeting of the Goddess, and the Ultimate Boon. It is during this stage where I was truly tested, not only physically in the development and successful implementation of utilizing new Web 2.0 tools and softwares, but also I was challenged mentally in rethinking of how I designed, implemented, and assessed digital learning in my classroom. It was during the stages of the initiation that I realized that digital technologies are rapidly changing and developing, and myself as a teacher must be willing to let go at times and understand that I'm not always going to have the immediate answers, but together with my learners we can formulate and construct knowledge and understandings together, and together we can be even more engaged in the experience. The return section consists of the Magic Flight, the Return Threshold, and the Master 2 Worlds. The journey is near completion, but it's far from being over, and as I pass through the threshold and enter the final stages of my journey, I'm presented with new challenges and unfamiliar forces. As I near the final stages of my journey, I've gone through a transformation and a growth which has been directly affected by each of my experiences during the journey. It is during this final stage that I revisit previous courses and rethink and reevaluate their influences and impact on my own learning development throughout my entire journey. The Force Vision is the final page of my e-portfolio. It is my final reflection piece and brings together some final thoughts of my MET journey over the last 2 years. Because it's titled The Force Vision, I've also included future visions that I foresee myself participating in the near future. These visions will be ultimately affected by my MET journey, and I'll be surely sharing my knowledge and understandings that I've come to understand in the field of educational technology. This final stage of my e-portfolio also symbolizes that I'm always going to be a learner, constructing new knowledge and understandings and continually making new connections.